Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Summers, and welcome to the audio edition of Mind, Body, Soul, a show about your mental, physical, and spiritual wellness. I have a very interesting guest today. As I go through this process, I uncover these gems of knowledgeable people who are willing to help, and in many cases, we don't even know these resources exist. I'm here today with Wanda Butler. She's the owner of a company called Happily Never After. And I'm going to let Wanda explain exactly what she does. And I think it, people who are going through this will certainly find this very valuable information. So welcome, Wanda Butler.
Thank you so much, Gary, for inviting me to speak today and inviting me into this project.
Oh.
Again, my name is Wanda Butler, and I'm with Happily Never After. So I'm a divorce financial analyst. I've been working in the divorce space now for the better part of 8 years. I've been involved in research and development. And so my company is about providing a service to clients to help alleviate or say lessen the financial impacts of separation and divorce by helping clients have a better understanding of their financial situation and to identify any financially feasible options available to them as they go through the separation and divorce process. And I created a holistic practice so that we're not just taking care of individuals as they're going through the separation and divorce process, but we can help them with post-divorce financial issues planning so that the decisions that they make going through something as painful and as tumultuous as a divorce, the decisions they make today will also be decisions that will be good ideas or good decisions in the future so that they're short-term.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But divorce and separation is stressful enough as it is because an important part of that person's life is ending, and you want to make this as the least amount of stress possible. Just before we get into this, I did do a couple of interviews, and I encourage our listeners to go back and listen to Dennis Barry. He's a lawyer, a St. John's lawyer, who did talk about the legal aspect of divorce and separation and what's involved there. He also talks about wills. So those are two really good interviews, but this is a totally different aspect of the divorce. So Wanda, let's get into this. So firstly, what prompted you to want to become a divorce financial analyst?
Well, in 2013, I was working in finance at the time, and I started to encounter more and more clients that I had helped as a financial security advisor. I found more and more clients had embraced, their setting goals and all that kind of stuff. And then somewhere further down the line, all of a sudden there was relationship breakups, and it's like they were trying to unravel the things that they had put together. And short of being able to send them to a family law lawyer at the time, I found that there were no resources for the financial element of their separation and divorce. And so the more that I started to see that there was a gap between finance and the legal aspect of it, and just to make it very, very clear, Happily Never After does not give out any legal advice. We're not a law firm in any way, shape, or form. Everything that we do is about the financial aspect.
And divorce. Right, and that's why I mentioned Dennis Barry, because Dennis is the one that would give great advice, and also for listeners, Dennis is now retired, so you won't. But he's got some great advice on his interview. Anyway, I'm sorry, just you can go ahead.
And my goal is not to replace the lawyers. The lawyers play a very valuable part. So Happily Never After doesn't deal with child-related issues or access issues or co-parenting. We deal with the financial aspects of the separation and divorce, and a good number of relationships that break up because of money problems.
And some people are really good with money, and a lot of people are not very good with money. So if they're not very good with money, as they start this separation and divorce process, it's probably going to be worse, because all that extra stress now on someone, it can cause people to probably make decisions that are not in their best interests as they go forward, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And not only that, I mean, there could be job loss, there could be illness that interferes with the ability to earn an income. You've got decreased income coming in. We've got the COVID pandemic here on our doorstep, and we've been dealing with this now for the last number of years. So there's a lot of individuals who have had increased financial pressure and increased financial stress. And these elements of financial stress creates emotional stress. And then it just has a negative impact. I mean, financial problems can erode a relationship.
Sure.
Whatever those money problems are, whether it's one person handles all of the finances and the other person kind of stays in the shadows and never involves himself in it,
Yeah.
or whether it's financial incompatibility, it's almost like a bird and a fish kind of
Sure.
having a
Absolutely.
relationship.
Yeah.
If you've got somebody who's a spender and they're all about having the next best iPhone or the next best this, and then you have the other spouse who might be very frugal and want to pay down debt and pay down on the mortgage, it could create a very big void, a big gap between the two individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And divorce doesn't solve the money problems.
No,
Sometimes
it makes it worse.
It creates more.
Sure. Absolutely. So who can avail of your services?
Any individual.
Or who can
avail my
benefit?
service.
Who can benefit? Go ahead.
Anybody who has any type of financial issues that are really niggling at them with regards to their separation and divorce, anybody who has any issues with regards to any asset that they have and they don't know how to go about dividing it with regards to matrimonial property, anybody who has any questions about what the options would be with regards to a matrimonial home, anybody who has any financial questions with regards to what is life going to look like post separation. So my practice focuses on 4 real pillars, we'll say. So I help individuals have a better understanding of their financial situation by helping them to evaluate their income and their expenses and what they own and what they owe. And so by flushing it out and helping individuals to identify even tax implications of those assets, what kind of an income stream are they going to have? So anybody who's looking for post-divorce kind of budgeting to identify what their lifestyle needs are going to be. So anybody in particular who is on that path to separation and divorce, and they're looking for somebody to help them solve some of the financial conundrums.
I had a friend of mine many years ago who went through separation and divorce and went to a lawyer, because that's really the only option that she had. And her husband wanted to hide some of the things from her. And it cost her over, I think it was close to $25,000 for the lawyer to try to peel back some of the things that she was entitled to. So those are some of the things, if there are trust issues in that relationship, if there are things that maybe someone was planning this and decided to tuck away a little nest egg for some time, you don't know what people are going through. So just give the listeners some idea of how the process works.
Well, my practice is really geared towards individuals that are looking for an amicable way. So it's for the individual that doesn't really know the process. It's for the individual that don't know the financials. So it's more of a kind of bringing them up to speed and helping them with the financial components.
Okay, so how if someone called you, what would that first meeting be like? So can you just give us like step 1, 2, 3? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So the very first thing that I would do with a client is to do a free consultation.
Okay.
So I'm going to really kind of drill down on what prompted them to book a consultation.
Okay, perfect.
So if they're looking to have help with identifying what is their personal property versus their marriage property, they have questions with regards to what would be the tax implications and stuff like that. But I'm going to drill down and find out what exactly they're looking to accomplish or they're looking to work through with regards to their separation. So I'm going to ask them some questions in the first initial consultation.
Okay, perfect.
And if I identify that there's a way that I can help them,
okay.
But if it's a situation, Gary, I mean, we can't help everybody.
Exactly.
And if there's that situation where there's a lot of conflict, and there's a lot of resentment, and there's a lot of waging war on each other, and there's a lot of friction between the couple. And again, we don't replace the lawyer. So
Sure.
in those situations where there's, child access issues,
Yeah,
co-parenting issues, they're best suited for somebody who's a mediator or a lawyer. But according to the changes in the Divorce Act last year that rolled out in March of 2021, there's a due diligence now to kind of encourage individuals to take an alternative dispute resolution method towards the issues pertaining to their separation and divorce. And so my practice is a way of kind of taking the backlog off the court system. And for those issues and those situations that really require, litigation, really require the court to be involved with regards to things that are not financial in nature, if we can leave those issues for the court and take issues that can be easily resolved out of the court system, and to help people find a more efficient, cost-effective way of dealing with their separation and divorce issues in an amicable way. It's about helping them have a financially fair settlement, proposal.
So you want to deal with mature adults, not children.
I want to deal with mature adults, not children. I would, I have a vision. I would like to be somehow involved in supporting duty counsel, or the, helping clients that are going to a settlement hearing and they need to flush out their financial options available to them. And quite possibly, it's about creating some efficiencies in the process. So right now, if you were to go through the separation and divorce process and you go and meet with somebody, you meet with a lawyer and you say, okay, my wish list is X and I would like to maintain the family home. Mm-hmm. And the lawyer's, okay, great. You guys came to an agreement. That's wonderful. And then you go on your way to implement that, wish list. Then you go meet with your banker, or you go meet with your mortgage professional, and then find out that I don't qualify.
Yeah.
Financially, I don't qualify to take over that home. So now you got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
With our process, we're going to help you flush out those financially feasible options.
Perfect.
And that way, it'll cut down on the length of time that it will take you to come to an agreement.
And obviously cut down on how much money you're going to have to spend to do this. So, it would be great if people could come to an amicable separation, that not one party blamed the other person, that they looked at it and said, okay, what's in the best interest of our children? How can we move forward? This is done. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, and people get hurt, and people, want to lash out, and they want to hurt the other person because they've decided they wanted to be a victim in all of this. So, good for you, Wanda, that you've seen such a need for this. So, we talk about. And I've heard statistics on the divorce rate, and I've heard statistics of 50%, and then a second marriage is even higher, and then a third marriage is even higher than that. Can you talk about just the divorce rate in general? Just some brief comments on that.
Well, I'll tell you some interesting information about that now, Gary. Canada has not been collecting divorce debts since 2008. And divorce came into inception in 1968. And we had one change to the Divorce Act in 1986-87, where they lowered the time that you had to be separated. But there's been changes to the Divorce Act several times, and then last year was the other one. But there's been no stats that have been collected in Canada since 2008. So even though we've got the information, I think, readily available there through census and maybe other means, we don't know even what the divorce rate is. It's more or less speculation to say that it's at 40%, because there's no way of even knowing those stats. People move. So I might have got married in Newfoundland and then relocated to Alberta.
Sure.
Now I'm divorcing in Alberta, kind of thing. So it's really hard to kind of track, I guess, those stats. But as I'm saying, the information is not available out there to even know what the stats were. We don't know even what the COVID pandemic impact has been on relationships, because we don't know what it was before the pandemic.
And also, even a couple living together, I mean, they're basically not legally married, but you'd still consider them as a couple. They could live together for 10 years, longer than maybe a lot of marriages. That's never captured.
No, absolutely. And there's a lot of, lack of information out there. I mean, I know the justice system, and I'm again, like, this is not, I don't want to be in any way, shape, or form talking about the legal aspect of it, because I talk about the financial aspect of it, but it's just the actual conundrum and the phenomena of divorce itself that fascinates me and has drawn me into researching not just the impact on finances, but also the impact on the family. And and the stabilization of the family, the impact on the health of the individual, and the impact on the community. So you've got two people that were now living in one household, living in separate households, two sets of expenses, one income. So it has an impact all around on the economy, on the person, on the finances, on the family, on the health. And so it was about just really understanding the full phenomena and the impact and the far reach that divorce has on all of those elements. I mean, it's one thing to say that you go through a separation and you experience all of the financial problems, but that leads to stress. It leads to emotional stress. It might mean, there's you're taking time off work, or you're needing to reach out to a support system just to kind of discuss the stress of it. So it's always fascinated me about the phenomena of divorce, and just wanting to cure some of the ills that come from it by focusing on the aspect of the financials. If we fix the financials, those other things will improve.
I guess the question that you get asked a lot is, do I need if I use your services, do I need a lawyer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every individual needs independent legal advice. And again, we don't replace the lawyer in the process. Anything that's of a legal nature will go to the lawyer. So my goal is to actually collect, analyze the financial data, and to put forth recommendations for both the client and the client's lawyer to give them give them some powerful data to be able to use in creating that settlement, in creating that separation agreement and filing for that divorce.
Yeah, because obviously legal documents have to be signed, they have to be filed with the courts and all that stuff. So lawyers would certainly have to be involved.
Absolutely.
What about common law couples? Would they benefit from your services?
Absolutely. It's about any relationship breakup that requires some type of sorting of financial issues. So whether it's a common law relationship, a same-sex relationship, a married relationship, there's some element of my program, my practice, that can help any individual that's going through a breakup, whether it's on a piece of paper that they're married or not.
Okay, perfect, great. And I know you briefly mentioned it at the beginning, but just so people understand the value that you bring, what training or education did you receive?
Well, I did a designation of certified divorce financial analyst back in 2017. I did the designation through a company, an institution down in the United States. And so since that point, I haven't continued on with the institution, but I've continued on my own. So I'm no longer a member of the institution.
Yeah, okay. It's amazing, that you don't realize that, there are people like yourself out there who actually have training in this area. Like, this is not something that you thought of, well, how do I develop this? You've actually gone on and done the training specific for this need, which is, to me, is amazing.
I did. And I was in finance, as I said, from 2012 until 2016, before I even went down this road. And I remember specifically having, going through my own separation. So it's kind of weird. When I wanted to buy a house, I wanted to learn everything I could about mortgages. Yeah. When I wanted to get fit, I learned everything I could about getting fit. Sure. And I became a manager of a gym. Yeah. So when I started to feel that there were some kind of things coming down the pipe with my own relationship, I wanted to learn everything I could about
Sure.
separation and divorce at that time. So
Yeah.
I've gone through one divorce in 1998, and I'm in the process over the last number of years. I'm legally separated now again. So I can truly understand the far-reaching impacts of separation and divorce. And I wanted to know how to help myself, and I wanted to know how to help other people.
Great. Wanda, COVID-19, we hear in the news about the stress that causes, the leading to sometimes intimate partner violence. And when it scares me when you hear people in government officials talking about school as a safe haven because kids live in a awful environment at home. How do you see what COVID-19 has done to couples, and how that portrays forward as to an increase in separations and divorce because of being so confined in that space?
Well, I'm just going to reiterate that I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a marriage counselor. And unlike yourself, I'm not involved in psychology or anything of the nature. So it's my own personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something
Sure.
that
Yeah.
I've taken a course for. But my opinion on the matter is that there was an issue with separation and divorce prior to COVID. And
Sure.
I think we had high numbers before COVID.
Yeah.
And COVID has amplified the crack in the foundation.
And I'm sure
COVID has caused more financial stress for some individuals.
Yes, because when you look at people losing their jobs, people losing their businesses, and things like that, it's unbelievable. We're almost out of time. Wanda, can we kind of sum it up and just if you had to give someone going through a separation or a divorce right now, what advice could you give to couples currently going through a separation or a divorce?
Be prepared to expose yourself financially,
and work together.
And work together, and be open to a sense of fairness. If you're going to spend $25,000 in fees to fight over a $20 set of martini glasses, that's a selfish endeavor. So be open to communicating. I know it's difficult to say, considering that it's a relationship breakdown and it might have happened because of communication, but by having friction and waging war on one another, and blowing through and eroding your savings to fight over something that maybe 10 years down the road is not going to make a big difference, and you're going to see everything erode. Just be open to a sense of fairness, and be open to a mutual agreement rather than spending too much time waging war on one another.
One final question, Wanda, and I guess people are interested in it as far as meetings and transfer of secure documents. Can you just go over? I'm sure you can do this through teleconference the same way we're doing it here now. So just talk to that for just a second.
Absolutely. Some of the elements can be done through teleconference. With regards to collection of private information and details, and financial information, I do have a secure document transfer protocol, but I can meet face-to-face with them as well. So I'm open to whatever works for the client in the province. If they want to meet at a cafe and they feel more comfortable that way, if they want to come meet me in person at my personal office, I'm okay with that as well. If they want to do it through Zoom, if they want to do it through phone, I can meet with them where they are in any space that they are. You
cannot get any better than that.
Well, thank you for that.
Thanks, Wanda. Great advice. And I'll leave everybody. read a quote that a couple were going through a divorce or separation, and it wasn't very amicable. They were acting like children. They were using their children as missiles. They were criticizing their partner in front of their kids, and the judge said, when you talk to the parent, to the couple, when you say to your child that their father or mother are no good, what you're basically saying to that child is half of you is no good, because half of you came from your father and half of you came from your mother. And it really struck me really powerful to when you bring kids into a situation, is no matter how hurt you were, you want to lash out and you want to get back at your partner through your children. And when you say something like that, you're basically criticizing the child, because the child came from the mother and the father. So for those couples out there who are listening, just remember what Wanda said, and remember you entered into this relationship as an adult. It'd be great if you left the relationship as an adult as well. Wanda, thanks very much. It was a pleasure meeting you. I every day I meet incredible people who are so willing to help and come on and to help people. And I'm sure we'll be in touch again as we move forward on my next mental health endeavor. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much, Gary. I really appreciated the opportunity to speak with you today.
And I didn't ask for your contact information, because as people are listening, you'll notice that there's all the information that you need to contact Wanda is there. So please reach out. She'd be a great asset as you move forward in life.
Thanks, Gary.